Welcome to Reinventing Perspectives. Thank you for joining me. Today is the second episode of our Leaders or Readers series. Thank you for your time. Now, this book has been recommended by at least three of our guests in the previous season. And not just three of our guests who have been entrepreneurs for at least 2 decades or more. And they said that this particular book changed the way they do business. Not only that, one of our guests, Didi Hoffman, says when entrepreneurs approach him to work with him in his health and wellness coaching business, he will not work with an entrepreneur who has not read this book. That's how important this book has been in changing the way that entrepreneurs do business. A little bit about the author, Micheal Gerber. He runs an institute and he has worked with thousands, if not tens or hundreds of thousands of entrepreneurs through his institute. So this is research backed and is evidence based. So he's put a lot of those thoughts into this book, and I think this is a revised edition. And the book title is The EMyth Revisited: Why Most Small Businesses Don't Work and What to Do About It. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. Every time I had an objection to something the author was writing, immediately in the following paragraphs, he would unpack my objection. I tell you, I was schooled a lot in reading this book and show me why the way I was thinking is completely wrong and why a lot of people think the way that I think. Phenomenal book, 5 stars. If you haven't read it, you should read it. But for today, I'm going to cover a few things that you can take away and implement in your business from this book. And when you're done doing that, I'm going to put it right up on my website. Go there, and it's not going to be a duplicate of what we've discussed in this episode. Go on the website and grab that. That's free. It's for you as well. And read the book and level up in the way you do business. Anyway, without wasting any more time, let's dive into our book. Micheal Gerber says, the most successful small business in the world. Guess what it is? McDonald's, the most successful small business in the world. Most people think McDonald's and they just think fast food, we think restaurants, and we don't necessarily think of McDonald's as a small business because it's now a global business. I don't think there's a country in the world where people don't know, have never eaten, or at least have never heard of McDonald's. So that's how big McDonald's is. But McDonald's is the most successful small business in the world. And that's the approach that Micheal E. Gerber in this book, The EMyth Revisited, tells us to use when we're thinking about our small business. Many of us have heard that McDonald's is not about the burgers. People say McDonald's is about the location, that they have all the prime locations around the world. And they do have all the prime locations around the world. And so they're in the business of real estate. But Micheal E. Gerber in this book isn't focused on McDonald's being in the real estate business. He says that the true product of a business is not what it sells, but how it sells. I hope you got that. The true product of your business is not what you sell, but how you sell it. So the true product of a business is the business itself. In the beginning of the book, Micheal talks about the 3 roles of a small business owner. The part of you that has to be an entrepreneur, part of you that is forward thinking, that is innovative, that is thinking of ways to change and disrupt markets, the entrepreneur in you. And then he talks about the manager in the small business owner. This is the person who's concerned about order, about planning, about keeping things going, about managing how things are done. In there also, he says, there's a part of you, if you're an entrepreneur, most of us have come from backgrounds where you go into business because you're an expert in a technical field and you decide, well, I don't want to work for anyone anymore. I want to do this for myself. And so there's a part of the small business owner that is a technician, and the technician is concerned with doing the job. The book is written in the form of almost like a case study where he has a small business owner who runs a bakery and she's exhausted by her business. She's tired of it all and she doesn't know what to do next, which I think is a place that a lot of entrepreneurs we can identify with. And he says the reason of that burnout is because we're juggling these 3 roles. In most cases, we're the technician, so we're doing the job. We are the manager, we're keeping the systems going, we're managing things, we're planning, we're keeping things orderly. And we're supposed to be, we have to be the entrepreneur. We have to be forward thinking, we have to be innovating, we have to be taking the business forward. So being one person and being all these 3 roles, I think as entrepreneurs, we understand how you can absolutely, totally be burnt out at some point and be over your business and absolutely hate your business at some point if you have to do all these 3 roles for a long period of time. So he says, as an entrepreneur, you should be working on your business, not in your business. Because if you're working in your business, then it's just a job. And not only is it a job, it's the worst kind of job. Before you become an entrepreneur, if you're working a full time job somewhere, you just have to focus on one thing. In most cases, you're just the technician. And now, as an entrepreneur, if you're working in your job, you're the technician, you're the manager, and you're the entrepreneur who's innovating and forward thinking and moving the business forward. That's enough to burn anybody out. So, Michael takes this business owner that he describes in this book and he walks her through what she should do so that she's not working in her business, but she's working on her business. Hence, the McDonald's as the most successful small business in the world, because McDonald's is about the systems that run the business and not about the people. So he says this is the difference. I hope I can relay it well. He says we need to create a systems dependent business, not a people dependent business. So, how do we do this? Well, Micheal E. Gerber says pretend that your business is the prototype or will be the prototype for 50 other businesses just like yours. So think like a person who is running a small business that will be a franchise. So your focus is not so much what you do, it's how you do it. And he says, with a small business, what is proprietary about your business is not what you sell, it's how you sell it. If some of you watch Shark Tank like I do, you know that one of the common questions that big investors ask someone who comes onto the platform looking for investment is, what is proprietary about your business? What is it that you do that nobody else does? And in a lot of cases, there's absolutely nothing proprietary about our offering, right? So, in this sense, if what you sell is not proprietary, it just means that anybody else can copy exactly what you do and sell just like you do. So there's nothing proprietary about that. Micheal E. Gerber says there has to be something proprietary about how you do business, the systems that you set up, because that's where the real value is. So Micheal E. Gerber says, take this in, your business is an organism that will stay alive depending on how well you do these two things. One, how well you find a customer, and two, how well you keep a customer. So your systems should be designed around finding a customer and keeping a customer, not around what you sell. That has been mind blowing for me. And I think if you're an early entrepreneur just like me and you're listening in, let me know. Anyway, let me know in the reviews, let me know in the comment section, get in touch with me on email. Let me know what you got out of this episode. So, since our systems are focused on our customer, he says the questions that we should always ask is, how can I give my customer the results that he or she wants systematically rather than personally? Systems help ordinary people do extraordinary things. That is what will be proprietary about the business. If you're a coach, if you're a consultant, if you're a service based business, I think this is really, really illuminating to the way we do business. Sometimes everything is so customized, everything is so personal, and everything takes so much time to get done because everything is done differently every time it needs to be done. And it becomes exhausting on the part of you, the business owner or the entrepreneur, because you're not working on systems. You're creating something new every time you get a client or you get a customer. And he says, stop focusing on the personal, focus on the system, which means that customer number one and customer number 5001 should get the exact same high quality service or product. That's where your competitive advantage will be. And if you think about it, the reason that McDonald's is so great from the perspective of a customer is not because McDonald's has the greatest food. There are plenty of restaurants out there, some with amazing food. But what makes McDonald's great is no matter where you go in the world and you see a McDonald's, you know exactly what it is that you're going to get. The ability of McDonald's to have a system, that's what's proprietary. Anybody can make a burger, anybody can make French fries. And how many people can have a consistent system that they work, which is what Micheal E. Gerber is saying the entrepreneur needs to do. He says, stop working in your business. Stop worrying about making every burger personalized for every person. Stop focusing on the offer so much and focus on the system. How are we going to create a business that works without our interference? How are we going to have a systems focused business that focuses on our customer? So the systems are focused on how we're going to find our customer and how we're going to keep our customer. So he says, create an organizational chart. It doesn't matter even if you're one entrepreneur, if you have a team of 5, or if you're just starting out and it's just you, you're a solopreneur. He says create an organizational chart of all the things that need to be done in your business. The marketing, the operations, the finance, every aspect of your business. And you sit down and you need a strategy for every single area of your business. Why? Because he says that even though right now you are probably the technician and you're at the very bottom of the organizational chart, every time you're working a job, he says create a system for that job so that you can hand that job over to somebody else at some point and eliminate that job from your plate to somebody else's. But before you do that, you need to know that you have a system that works despite of people, if you get what I mean. That the success should be in the system you've developed, not necessarily in hiring the best person, but in having a person who can work the best system. So Micheal E. Gerber talks about the business development process, and he breaks it down into 3 things. 1, innovation. As you're doing that particular job, whatever job it is in your business, always be thinking creatively. Think up new things and then do those new things. And then document metrics, the outcome of those things, because you can't track something if you're not measuring. I think it's Michael Porter who says if something can't be measured, it can't be managed. So you need to always be measuring everything that you're doing so that you can say that it works. So for example, if it's your sales process, you need to be documenting exactly how you're doing it. So how many calls are you making? How many presentations are you giving? How many follow-ups are you doing? How many purchases are being made through your sales process? That way you develop a system for that particular job of selling, that you perfect, a tried system that you've innovated, you've quantified, and you've orchestrated, and you've done that over and over again, a system that works. The success is in the system, not in the person. And then he said, when you do hire someone to take up their job, you're not going to try and get the Harvard MBA graduate to come and take over that job. Not to say that there's anything wrong with that, but anyway, as small businesses know, small businesses can afford to attract those kind of people in the beginning, right? But you're looking for a person who, even if they don't have experience, is eager to learn and is teachable, because the system and the process is there. It just needs someone to work it. For more information, freebies, and clips from various episodes, please go to our website, www.reinventingperspectives.com. Thank you so much for your time. We absolutely value your time, and even more, we value your feedback. Don't forget to leave us a review. Thank you so much, and see you again next week.